by 50%. The governor described the challenge in very stark terms. The reality is that because we do not have enough tests to implement a test and isolate strategy nationally, it has been underway, as has been underway in Singapore and South Korea. Governors and mayors have been left with the blunt instrument of stay-at-home orders and extreme physical distancing directives. I fully support the governor and strongly encourage businesses to implement work-from-home policies and delivery of goods to the extent possible. The governor and I talk every day, and I could not be more pleased with the close coordination and care he has shown for Denver and all our communities in this extraordinary health crisis. The city and county of Denver is doing its part. In fact, we began the process of moving roughly 90% of our workforce to work from home last week. Every metro area jurisdiction needs to follow the broad consensus among public health professionals, because regional awareness and coordination will make these steps work. I've spoken with metropolitan area mayors and county commissioners, and we discussed the challenge and great value of working and executing in a coordinated way. Our challenge is that Denver is the population center for the state. We're the densest area in the state, and right now we have the highest number of positive cases in the state. Because of that, we need to take extra steps to secure the public health and safety of our community. We can also act responsibly as the largest metro community to help all of Colorado. That's why today we are issuing a stay-at-home public health order for the city and county of Denver, which will go into effect at 5 p.m. tomorrow and be in effect until April 10th or extended if necessary. Again, I spoke with Governor Polis about this next step in Denver and the new step that we are taking, and he is very supportive. We want to do everything we can to amplify the mitigation efforts the governor and the team are taking. It's very important that every Denver resident comply with this order. This isn't a recommendation anymore. People need to stay at home. We're going to educate residents on what this new order means, and our primary response to discourage anything beyond the exceptions laid out in our stay-at-home order. But we will enforce when and where necessary. Every effort needs to be made by all of us to conduct only those activities that are essential to the health and well-being, such as grocery stores, obtaining medical supplies or medication, and exercise, as long as physical distancing practices are strictly followed. People and businesses need to take physical distancing seriously if we're going to make meaningful impact on the spread of this virus. We saw some things this weekend that helped me to move toward this very bold decision. In some of our parks, we saw organized or loosely organized sport activities such as volleyball games and basketball games. We saw picnics. These are things that will be prohibited under this order and are very important that we stop in order to end the spread of this virus in our community. And so many of our residents are taking the situation very seriously, and I can't thank them enough for staying home and helping us to work toward flattening this curve. Here's why it's important. Our healthcare delivery system doesn't just serve Denver or the metropolitan area. In emergency situations, it's also here to help our fellow Coloradoans living in the mountain towns, out in the eastern plains, and over in the western slope. We can't let our hospitals get overwhelmed. We need to support our doctors, nurses, first responders, now more than ever. So if you're sick, stay home. If you're not sick, you need to stay home too. It's incredible to see how many of you are donating personal protective equipment, and we thank you for that. We are doing an assessment of our PPE supply now, and should have a better sense of which items we will need in these situations or as the situations continue to progress. And if you're healthy, we ask you to please consider donating blood if you're able. We know that these stay-at-home orders are tough for many people, especially our older adults, residents living with disabilities, and so many others. We want to continue to encourage folks to be smart and strategic about their purchasing. Do not panic buy. This order by no means is a change in the attitude and the belief that, as I shared last week, that we should not be panic buying. It puts everyone in a very precarious position when we do that. You do not need to do that. You can go to the grocery store to grab your items, but then again return back home as necessary. I want to assure our business community, especially our small businesses, that we are with you for the long haul. In addition to our Small Business Emergency Relief Fund, we are mobilizing an Economic Relief and Recovery Council with business leaders across industry sectors to recommend and oversee relief efforts during every phase of this health emergency. It's about survival, stabilization, and long-term economic recovery for Denver. So we're not only focused on today, but we are beginning to look forward and how Denver will begin to recover from these economic challenges. The city and many of our partners have been working tirelessly to support our local businesses and workers in any way we can. For example, ToGoDenver.com has a running list of restaurants offering pickup and delivery service. Consider supporting those businesses and their employees. We all need to do our part to reverse the spread of the virus. And my message to everyone in Denver is this: stay informed, have patience, keep your spirits up as we work to protect all residents during this time. Your health and safety is my top priority right now and will continue to be always. We're going to get to the other side of this. I believe it in my heart, and we can get there faster if everyone follows these orders and stays at home. Let me close with this. These are not easy decisions. It's one reason why I've spent time talking to mayors across the nation about their decisions, as well as governors, to shut down their states. I can tell you that there are three things that mayors have taken into consideration as they've made these tough decisions. One is the history. In 1918, with the flu epidemic, as well as SARS and other epidemics that have come our way. Cities and regions that have acted quickly and boldly have done a better job of getting on top of the issue and acting effectively on behalf of their constituencies. Secondly, the trends. The trends are not going in the right direction, and the incremental steps that we have taken are not really beginning to move the needles as fast as we need them to move to protect the residents of our cities. The reality is that public health professionals have been advising us that this is the right direction to move for several days now. And with Denver again being the most densest metropolitan region in the state, it makes sense that we move more boldly to address these issues going forward. And then finally, we know that our steps from closing down restaurants and bars and spas and barbershops, beauty shops, and hair and nail salons and other businesses are wreaking havoc on our economy. Many people are out of work. The bolder and quicker we move, the faster we can end this economic trauma in our economy. We don't want to extend the economic pain of the people of Denver. And that's why we have to take bold moves to begin to help this city get on the other side of this curve and begin to flatten this curve. I know the first question will be how you will enforce this. First, we need voluntary compliance from the people of the city. We need you to stay home. If you're not on the essential list, not making a run to the grocery store, or to get something that's essential for you and your family during this time, we ask you to stay home. And so we're going to do everything we can to educate and inform and to discourage the residents of Denver from moving about. And then we're going to enforce as necessary whenever and however we have to make sure that we comply with this public health order. This is not a recommendation. It is now an order for the city and county of Denver to stay at home. I will now open it up for questions.
As we start questions, just a note to the media that you'll receive the full public health order and the press release shortly here, and the public health order will be up on gov.org by the time the press conference ends. Go ahead.
Okay, so my question is that there was a updated amendment the other day that was saying that everything for more than 10 people shall be canceled or postponed until May 11th. So is that still in effect as well? It's on the City of Denver homepage.
For those businesses that fall under our activities, fall under that order, we are now asking for all activities to be canceled and to follow this order to stay at home. And so this order will take precedence going forward.
So it's the 30th instead of May 11th, Mayor?
This order will take precedence until April the 10th going forward.
Okay, and then, I'm sorry, this is Mindy McNeil with Rationale Public Media. The other question I have is, how will the city determine when the crisis has passed?
I'm going to ask Bob McDonald to come here. That is a question we're all trying to answer, not only here in Denver, but across the country.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I want to just say that these decisions are very complicated, very difficult decisions, but we're being very thoughtful with them. You know, we wanted to start out with this time frame so that we could take a look at the number of cases that occur during the next 2 or 3 weeks under this new order. We want to keep track of what testing is telling us and see how testing ramps up. Take a look at the curve of cases. Those are all the things that we'll be looking at over the next couple of weeks to determine if we can end this order at that time or potentially extend it if necessary.
Mr. Mayor, this is Joe St. George with Fox 31. Quick question on enforcement one more time here. Are police going to be patrolling parks? Do you envision that taking place? And just as a point of clarification, does this mean if you're a non-essential worker in the city of Denver, come Wednesday morning, you won't be reporting to work? Your order supersedes what the governor has said in regards to reducing the workforce by 50% here.
So let's clarify. You're right. So enforcement will include several entities. Our park rangers are going to be in our parks, though we're encouraging people to walk, to hike, but to also practice physical, so that the park rangers will be charged with monitoring that. So if you're walking in the park and we're not seeing the exercise of physical distancing, that might be where the ranger just comes in and educates, informs, and discourages your close proximity at that point in time. Police will be involved in terms of the street, being involved in public discourse. Again, making sure that people are practicing physical distancing, but also following the normal course of the law in the city of Denver. And then, of course, our business inspectors will be out there. If you are a business and you're supposed to be closed, our goal is to inform and educate you and to discourage your continual operation before we have to move in with enforcement. But we will have procedures available for every one of these levels. And you may see some of our city employees redeployed, helping with the soft education and information sharing about what you're supposed to be doing or not doing. But the goal is for all of us to follow these orders. We got a question here in the room.
Mayor, just as a final follow-up, sir. You said on Friday that you didn't want to issue an order unless it was done regionally or at the state level. What changed since?
So I've remained in contact with our regional county commissioners and mayors. I think you're going to find or see one of the challenges that I always presented in terms of a regional solution was the difference in governance structure. As mayor of a combined government of city and county, City Council to make this decision. I want to thank Councilman Clark, the President of City Council, for being here, and the members of Council who I consulted and spoke with as well on this issue. Those cities and other jurisdictions, you're going to find, I think, see some of them begin to at least ask the very critical question and consult with their public health advisors and administrators on this decision as well. We can act faster as a city. But we know that many of them, as I've encouraged them on the phone to do today, is to begin their consultation, and some of them may be taking votes. Let me say this as well, Joe, because I think this is an important note. If you look around the country, capital cities or major cities in many of these states that have now instituted stay-at-home bans or stay-at-home orders have also started with the major cities leading the way. And wanted to make sure, see that we can all do it together. Time is of the essence right now, and I think me acting unilaterally with consultation and information sharing with our surrounding jurisdictions further underscores the sense of urgency that I felt like we as have. Yes.
Mayor Hancock.
Denver.
We have a question here on the floor.
A quick question about what this means for the airport. Are flights still allowed to leave, and will there be further enforcement of social
There are
distancing?
18
I'm glad you
international
asked that question. The
flights
airport will continue to operate. Obviously, there is
a day
federal
coming into the
advisement
United
that we would have to
States.
go through if we wanted to shut down the
Globally.
airport outside of an imminent threat
18.
of safety. Somebody needs to mute their phone.
Not the first in Colorado, as a week ago, San Miguel
Somebody
County.
on the line needs to mute their phone.
This is CPR News live special coverage as Denver Mayor Michael Hancock issues a stay-at-home order, which will go into effect at 5 tomorrow afternoon and be in effect until April 10th. He's saying that could be extended if necessary.
So I'm going to come to you back live again, but I got to do a couple things here real
Yeah, I
quick.
think you'll see the
Denver just issued stay-at-home orders. They're shutting down the city and county. So that was the neighbors of my sister, and I've got to get some things I forgot at the house. So you guys just stay tight, listen to the radio, and I'll be back.
So dispensaries and liquor stores, are they considered essential, or are they going to be closed?
well, as far as the liquor store and I'm concerned, yes, very essential.
Dispensaries and liquor stores are essential.
I'm looking over at our city attorney, the liquor stores and dispensaries. Marty, you want to come up? I don't want to give the wrong information, but I think we've allowed them to continue operating, particularly for the medical marijuana, right?
Marley Bordowski with the City Attorney's Office. Great question. Liquor stores are not considered essential businesses, nor are recreational marijuana stores. Medical marijuana stores will remain open.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Mayor Hancock, I have a quick question. I'm wondering if you could explain a little bit more about enforcement. Like, will there be police out, ticketing people who are, who are leaving their homes? How will the police, monitor who's going where? If you could just get into what enforcement means.
You know what? This is not about arresting people or putting people, criminal citation. The enforcement in that end, that's the last step for us. We're going to again start with educating the people who are, if we see them on the street, if people are out and about, checking their reason for being out, and understanding that. So that it's not about that area unless you absolutely are deciding to defy the order that is in place without any particular reason, other than you just want to defy the order. We want to inform, we want to discourage, and then we'll enforce as necessary. And so the police will not be the only ones that are out there. They have procedures in which to work with businesses as well as individuals, but you also will have park rangers, you have business inspectors, and maybe some redeployed city employees who are helping us with the enforcement mechanism. The goal is to get voluntary compliance first, and then we will step up from there.
Go ahead, Conrad.
This is Conrad with the Denver Post. Sorry to interrupt. I'm curious if you have an understanding or an idea of how many more businesses will close under this order.
We don't have that information right here, right now, but we are encouraging businesses that are not essential or listed as non-essential to close until April the 10th. That list of those exempted criterion will be on the Denver Gov website at the conclusion of this press conference.
Mayor Hancock, Mayor Stella Hernandez with Denver Colorado Public Radio. Can you just clarify the going to park things? I mean, they're still going to be open, but you have to be at home. How does someone balance that? How does that work?
Well, here's what we're asking you not to do. Not to have organized volleyball games, basketball games, pickup, whatever. You can walk on the trails, you can hike. We want people to be able to exercise, walk their dogs, and still practice physical distancing, which is critical. But what we're not going to allow to happen are those type of things that we saw this weekend, where we saw volleyball games occurring and pickup basketball games occurring in our parks around the city.
Mayor, a question for you, and a quick question for Bob McDonald, if possible. This is Kyle Clark with 9 News. I'm curious, Mr. Mayor, whether you have tried to change Governor Polis's mind to urge him to move to a statewide stay-home order. And then for Bob McDonald, increasing evidence out of Italy suggests that hospitals were the main source of passing COVID-19, and they are urging other hospitals to decentralize care, to go to a home care model when possible. Is that something Denver is exploring? Thank you.
Kyle, the governor and I have, as I mentioned, daily conversations, and we've talked about a range of possibilities for the state as well as for Denver and the metro region. I shared with him my concern about Denver going it alone, and that I'd rather for it to be the state and the metro region. He certainly understood that, but I also understood and respected his position in that there's a whole state out there that he has to be concerned about, some that have not even seen one case of presumptive positive yet, and so you had to be considerate of them. And I believe that the incremental step that he took with the 50% employee reduction made sense for the state of Colorado, for the dense area of Denver. As I shared with him today, and he understood, again, from the days of conversation we had, he understood why we would have to make that decision in Denver and hopefully ultimately as a region. So I'll ask Dr. Wittenstein or Bob if they want to address the hospital question.
I'm Robin Wittenstein, the CEO of Denver Health and Hospital Authority. Hospitals have done a number of things to try to maintain the safest possible environment for our patients. All of them have canceled elective surgery. Procedures that are not critically necessary in the next 3 months have been canceled and will be rescheduled later on in the year. We are asking patients not to come into the clinics, not to come into the hospital. Call ahead, ask questions of providers. There are lines that are available for those calls so that we can keep as many people out as possible. We are all cohorting anybody who is a positive COVID patient into areas of the hospital. Every hospital in the city and county of Denver is of expanding its intensive care capabilities as rapidly as possible. We are facing shortages of tests and of personal protective equipment.
All right, folks, looks like we got a temporary...
So we are trying to keep people out and not have them come into the hospital. But every single hospital employee at this point is wearing face masks so that they can protect both themselves, but most importantly, protect our patients. I think you'll continue to see that type of work go forward. We are exploring hospital care at home at this point in time so that we can keep patients who don't require high levels of intensive care in their own homes and provide them with daily or twice daily doctor or nurse visits so that they can via telemedicine so that they can get the care that they need. But we are well aware of the fact that concentrating large numbers of people who have positive virus is a way of potentially exposing others. So we're doing everything we can, not just at Denver Health, but at every single hospital in the city and county of Denver to protect our patients.
Mayor Hancock, this is Katie Eastman with 907.
Go ahead, Katie.
Hey, sorry. Oh, okay. I'm going to...
Lots of technical difficulties.
In California, some cities have said that their stay-at-home or shelter-in-place order means that you can only see people that you live with and be in close proximity with them. Is that what this order would mean?
Yeah, we asked you to stay home. So whoever's in that house with you, obviously you'll see. But, we also understand that people have, for example, I do, an older adult who I care greatly about and like to check in on. And I believe that's one of the activities where you're able to move about. If you have an older adult that you're going to check in on, like I do my mother, we understand that, and we want you to check in on your mother if you're healthy, obviously. Or any older adult in your life, or the vulnerable resident or neighbor or friend in your life.
I don't know about Jan's Kitchen yet. I got a phone call earlier today, but I haven't had a chance to follow up.
Exceptions in which we allow, or we're asking people to move about. Those are very critical, because if you're outside of that, then we're going to ask you to return back home.
Mayor Hancock, will residents still be allowed to do takeout orders? Will restaurants still be allowed to do takeout orders?
Yes.
And what about liquor stores? Will they be allowed to start delivering alcohol? And then also, are you telling anything to public transit operators about who they should be allowing on or off when it comes to kind of people moving around the city?
So liquor stores are not going to be allowed to deliver as per the order. But you have a question about transit. Transportation is one of the exempted areas of the order.
It is, and it exempts public transportation, it exempts taxis, rideshare services, that kind of thing. Transportation still is critical to our infrastructure, and so it was exempted.
Thanks, Mark.
Yesterday, the governor said, quote, there is no civil law enforcement authority that is in a position in any city or state to enforce these kind of orders. How are you going to do that with the governor essentially saying that this is impossible to actually enforce?
Listen, we certainly agree that the enforcement mechanism of any type of order is challenging. We start with voluntary compliance. That is where we get the greatest movement on these type of orders. This is not, again, it's not about bringing a hammer to this order and people's lives. And then we'll do everything we can as we come in contact with people outside this order to educate and discourage. And then only at last resort do we use any kind of legal or criminal enforcement on this. But it is about voluntary compliance. And I believe the people of Denver will follow the government's way. As the mayor of the city, for me to underscore how important and serious it is for us to comply and to work together. And only together are we able to get through this. To work together to get on the other side and to flatten this curve and get on the other side of it. And only by being in compliance, voluntarily, staying at home, are we going to be able to make our efforts effective.
You're listening to live special coverage of Mayor Michael Hancock at the City and County building. He has just issued a effect through April 10th.
Sorry about that. Folks, you are hearing it live here first. Denver is under shelter in place orders. Starting at 5 o'clock tomorrow night.
And so we'll continue to encourage folks to have those resources at this time. To reiterate, our strategy overall is to support our existing shelters, to set up supplemental shelters that allow for greater social distancing, and then to also have respite rooms. I want to thank the community. Our office has gotten a lot of inquiries today, even about motels, hotels that are willing to step up and work with us on how we can have respite rooms. So thank you to that ongoing response.
Mr. Mayor, Joe St. George here again, and apologies for that mute debacle previously.
I knew that was you, George. I didn't want to call you out.
Issue that other states have decided that liquor stores are essential. They're keeping them open. As far as I understand, you're closing them tomorrow at 5 p.m. Why making it not why is it different from our city, for instance?
We do not have them listed as essential, George, Joe. And I just checked over. I believe that's yes, it is the case from the city attorney's office. As much as I might think it's essential for me, it's not essential for everyone. But as I don't mean to be injected, the reality is that we do not see that as an essential service. This is tonight will be the opportunity for you to go grab supply if you need a resupply.
Katie Eastman with 9 News again. Will you be doing anything to try to limit the amount of people in grocery stores at a time?
No, we ask, of course, the grocery stores to do what they can to monitor and manage social distancing or physical distancing that's required on the current orders that's part of every one of these. That is critical. And I want to thank our grocery store industry, retail industry, for what they're doing. Not only their around-the-clock efforts to keep the shelves stocked, but many of them have made provisions so that our older adults can come in exclusively at a certain hour or time of day to do their shopping, and they can get in and get out. And I want to thank them for taking the extraordinary steps that they've taken as part of this health crisis.
Mayor, talking to David from 52 Magazine. Question specific to construction sites and construction workers. First, will construction sites be shut down? Secondly, will construction stores be open? And what is your plan for the construction workforce?
So the construction workforce, if you're in transportation, construction projects, housing will remain operational, and public infrastructure, other infrastructure type construction will continue on. I want to see further clarification I want to make on that issue, or you want to make here. But our goal is to, and I think it's important. I'll let Marty and outline the technical side of it, but I want to say something about keeping construction moving.
Specifically, public works construction would be exempt from this. Construction of housing would be exempt, especially affordable housing. Government construction for public infrastructure, and any construction that's necessary to support or maintain an essential business would also be allowed. So that's a pretty critical exemption.
I just want to add, thank you, Marley. As we have seen over the years, and you can study this in Denver's history, particularly in the 07, 08 era, where we had the latest, most recent economic recession. It was the construction industry being expedited and accelerated that kept really the economy alive. As every other parts of the economy were dying, we try to accelerate the construction industry. So I am a believer that it's important as best we can to keep the construction industry moving, because that industry, more than any other industry, represents the full body of our economy and is helping to keep activated other parts of the economy. We're going to need them as we get on the other side of this to help continue to serve as our foundation, our economic recovery. One more question, and then we'll call it.
One more question.
Daycare centers. I know there's some daycare centers that say that they feel like they're being taken advantage of because there's some employers that won't let their employees stay home. Are you going to let the daycare centers stay home, or is this order doing anything for the daycare?
Again, I invited one to go to. We'll issue the exemption list. It's probably now at the conclusion of this presser, and we invite everyone to go to denvergov.org website and to find that list in its entirety. Thank you all.
One more question, Mayor. People that live in Denver but work outside, can they still go to work in other cities?
I think you're going to see that that will be problematic. We're asking folks to stay at home, and I think as we continue on with this effort in the metropolitan region, you may find other jurisdictions beginning to follow. So here's the reality. Denver grows by 23% every day. So we have more of a in-migration than we have a migration in the city of Denver. And the reality is that we have got to help workers who are coming into the city know that this city is being shut down outside of essential businesses, operations, in businesses and operations in the city of Denver. Hopefully that helps, and employers who are in the city of Denver, who have employees coming in or going out, also take heed to the fact that we're on the other side of this by everybody cooperating and staying at home. Thank you all.
All right, that was live coverage of Mayor Michael Hancock, Mayor of Denver, announcing a shelter-in-place order.
All right, folks, you've heard it. That's I'm hoping this is an overreaction from the government too, but we're going to see whether or not it is. And sorry about that. All right, so now you're in split screen mode and I can do the things I need to do. I pulled off the highway because you can't find where you're going while you're driving. It's just bad habits. And so what I do is pull over, talk to you all for a little bit, and bring this into another focus and scope. So closing it down. If you haven't heard, it's time to pay attention. I hope you have groceries. Supplies. I think there's probably some point that it's going to go around. A lot of people are going to get it. This may last 30, 60, 90 days. It might not. It means a lot of things are going to change. That is, and Internet of Things is going to stay busy, of course, but does it make sense for me to say, hey, go take care of your shit, right? Go make sure that you've got some seeds for planting. Make sure that you have soil for growing. Make sure you have all the essentials that you're going to want for the next 60 to 90 days. Does this mean that I'm going to have assurances that the kitchen is staying open or closed? Well, I imagine that we're going to stay open, quite honestly, because I know how Janet felt about taking care of people. That's why she started this, right? I imagine that we're going to take more safety precautions than before. And it seems like this is taking me to the wrong grocery store. I want to go to where I want to go, and I don't want it to be one that's far away, 1.5 miles away. That's exactly where I want to be. So we're going to have to become reclusives. People should be getting tested only if they think that they're not safe, right? But the reality is that everybody's losing their job. My sister talked to me about other people have talked to me about the companies that they're working for. We're strategizing what kind of jobs we want to try to get if we can. We're talking about all of it, and it's scary, folks, because this virus has got two things going for it. One is that it's surface to surface and it's airborne. That's two methodologies that we can get it. So the idea is stop being in contact, right? Let the disease run its course, basically, is one of the main concepts I think that we're looking at here. And so if we just let the disease run its course, everything will be all right. We're gonna stay at home. We're gonna let the disease go out there into the world and die. And the people who have it have to be secluded so that is it a big scare? No, I don't think it is. I think that, I think it's a population dropper, but I think that we have nothing, to fear, but fear itself is an old statement, right? But we have nothing to do but to look at our past. And so in December, when this was coming out in China, and I'm listening to National Public Radio, you're hearing my commentary based on the things that I hear spoken about. And my experience is that the towns that shut down the schools, the communities that locked themselves off and quarantined themselves from others, those are the ones that survived the hardest, right? And so back in the day, if you had 20 kids because you needed them to grow food and plant potatoes and weed the beans and all those things, then you definitely got to know how to get your hands on and maintain and manage to hold on to essential key supplies. So as my battery's running low, because for whatever reason this charging cord's not charging, because it sucks. Why am I out? I'm out because I was taking care of supplies. I'm in a car. I'm putting a face mask on. I'm going to get gasoline, top the car off. I'm going for any last-ditch cleaning supplies that I can get my hands on at this immediate moment. That is why I'm out. It's the only reason I'm out. I was actually needing to get my laptop from my sister's house, and that very important item, the laptop, was a key ingredient to what I needed to do today. If I'm going to file for unemployment taxes, if I'm going to ask for a forbearance on my capacity to pay rent or to work, have and maintain gainful employment, then you better believe that I gotta have the ability to get on the internet and do those internet things, right? We fed yesterday. We provided food. We didn't provide clothing, but we provided sanitation and community. Now, if you're gonna have coronavirus, you got to clean yourself from the inside and the out, right? No, I'm just joking. But you have to have bleach, right? And so the fact that they're shutting down Denver means that I'm gonna pull into a Costco and I'm gonna get my shit quick. And if there's shit tickets, I'm gonna get shit tickets. And if there's bleach, I'm gonna get bleach. And if there's Lysol spray, I'm gonna get Lysol spray. And if there's a line, I'm gonna stand in line, because there is a line. So that'll be the case. I'll stream us in the line, get unloaded here. I'll carry us into the building as long as I can for what I've got. But at this point, it's no more fun and games, folks. It's take care of your family, take care of yourselves, get your shit that you need to be safe, and get it done, okay? So, we're on our last 15 minutes of battery power, it appears, and I have a wallet on me. Anybody want to Venmo me for extra supplies for Janet? Now would be the time. And, oh, I knew what I forgot. Disinfectant spray. Oh, no, don't have that in there. There is a line. Oh, the mask. The mask. See, I told you I got masks for a reason. Everybody just heard the mayor go off in Denver. So now they're looking for their supplies. Right, and I'm going to show you this really awesome masks I got donated right here. I got this great mask. Hold on a second. I'll put that on. How do you like that, huh? Oh, we're, we can't live stream inside the store. That won't work. But it's a 6-foot rule. It's every 20 minutes and there's lots of parking in the lot. So you know that there's going to be plenty of supplies, people. But as you'll see, people will social distance themselves, keeping safe distance in line. Some people have gloves on. I forgot gloves. And yep, it's that kind of time. Show us the empty cells. I don't think it'll be able to stay live on the inside. We got 14% battery, so let's turn that on. Okay, so we're gonna turn off the background data. Exit navigation. All the background things are going away real quick. Alright. I'll take you where I can while I can for as long as I can. How's that sound, folks? Oh, that's funny. Get my house dignity. See what I see. So, does anybody need anything while I'm going shopping? And what are your thoughts on the mayor's order? Let's talk. You're live, I'm live. We're hanging out. I'm at 13% battery, by the way. King crab. Yeah, no, that's not essential supplies. That is not essential supplies. King crab legs. You want king crab legs, go hang out with AK Lady. For some reason my live chat's not staying up. Shrimp? You guys are idiots. Crab pizza, king crabs. People definitely agree with you. Oh, they still got toilet paper.
No, these are.
They got toilet paper and paper towel. Oh, did I mention this is the Liquor King Supers too, right? Or Costco? Oh, you know, those are services you should be able to get still. Tires. So if it's the end of the world, you can leave. Top off the gas tank before you go, don't forget. It's only $1.46 a gallon. See how the line has grown since I got here? That's quick. Alright, I'm gonna go stealth mode here, folks. So they don't holler at me for being live as I walk in the door. Social distancing. 6 feet. See that?
Okay, well, you can have some
Clean start. Everybody gets clean. They're cleaning the cart. It's big warehouse because I got 8% battery left. So we're just gonna carry it to the end, huh? No Clorox wipes, pasta, Spam, chicken, emergency, or soft soap. That means there's toilet paper, lice. We'll get some of that. PS4s are $300. That's nice. But yeah, you can only get hot dogs. gonna get lots of other things. Full of clothes, socks, underwear, pots and pants, lots of knives, Tupperware containers. This should do that. Shelves are full, folks. That's not the stuff I want, though. Shelves are full. Lots of food. What we want is back here. Back here. Will be fine. That's all spray. Somewhere in the midst. Paper towel. Plenty of paper towel. No toilet paper though. Looks like the toilet paper's gone. Out again. That's it, they're gone. Mix the paper towel, toilet paper roll. There's Kleenex left. We need a box of Kleenex. Yes or no? It's insane a world. Can't find the Lysol spray either, folks. But I did need a wet set. Pardon me, where can I find the Lysol spray?
Don't have it.
I don't have Lysol spray here, folks. Thank you.
You also just ran out of toilet paper.
Also, toilet paper. That's crazy. Alright folks, seen it here. I'm going to let this feed go. Thanks for hanging out. I'll come back live and talk to you all about how this affects me and my world later today. In the meantime, I'm going to save my battery in case I need to make a phone call. We'll talk to you later.